Spiritual gifts. Spiritual gifts. Are you spiritually gifted? Are you spiritually gifted? Spiritual gifts. Hello, y'all. I'm Dianna, Brianne. I don't give advice, suggestions, information, recommendations. I just share with you my perspective on different topics. I hope you like, share, subscribe. Channel names are pinned to the top of the comment section below. All 5 channels to the comment section or description box below. So, spiritual gifts. You know, I believe in spiritual gifts. I was taught growing up about spiritual gifts. And my grandma read it to me from her Bible about spiritual gifts. And so, you know, everybody has a different opinion. Everybody has different beliefs. Everybody has different interpretations. So all I'm doing is simply giving you my interpretation and based upon my own life and my own journey. As y'all know, I talk about spiritual gifts in the past, and I've talked about how, you know, everyone, I believe, gets spiritual gifts. Often people leave them undeveloped, underdeveloped, don't even know that they have them. Some people recognize them, do nothing with them, and other people's developed without them really even knowing that they were developing them along the way. So, you know, I talk about the spiritual gift of wisdom, and that I have had that pretty much since I was very, very young. I believe that that kind of came, that was always there, and yet it was amplified due to some traumatic events that took place early on in my life that kind of made me highly alert to the what ifs, what could happen. I became a people observer. I became, you know, very observant of other people, the outcomes of their actions, what could happen. It was sort of like a self-preservation type of thing. So I developed that gift that was already in me that probably everybody has at some level. They just have no real need to develop it. Sometimes out of an event or what is a situation, our gifts will be brought out. You know, I remember learning how to, I became an extremely fast typist early on and an accurate typist because, well, there was a very lonely period in my life when I was about 14 years old, and I would just kind of stay upstairs in my room. I had kind of like a little apartment of my own in the house. And I had this old antique typewriter, and I had a typewriter book. And I would just sit there and type away, just type and type and type for hours, like some people do the piano. So I can understand that sometimes people who become great artists, people that become great pianists, sometimes they had a situation that brought that out of them, that otherwise that may have been dormant. So I think many of us have a lot of different gifts that never go tapped into. Probably I have a lot more gifts that I have never tapped into. Sometimes our environment, our circumstances, our situations will bring out that gift to flourish. Other times we'll recognize it and we'll act on it. Sometimes we're drawn to a gift and we become great at it. Sometimes we're drawn to fixing something and we become great at it. I think sometimes some doctors become doctors because maybe they experience sickness at some level in their families or in themselves, and they were attracted to the healing part of fixing people, making them better. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes we're attracted to things because of our experiences, and it brings out the positives in us that were always there that may have been dormant. And so, but for me, I will tell you a couple of my gifts. And as you all know, I have what I call the gift of knowing. And the gift of knowing is not prophecy. It's not seeing into the future necessarily. It's a sense of what is going on in it that I would have no way of really knowing. does that make sense? It could be way over there, that's going on right now, or something I need to know to prepare for. It could be an opportunity. It could be an opportunity, or it could be something to avoid or something to prepare for that's probably going on right now in some level or some form. And so, even in the very beginning of the year, I told my husband, right around January 1st, several things that I saw that were going to take place. And pretty much they've all taken place already. And these were things that were out of the ordinary. And so, it is my gift. I've had that gift for as far back as I can remember. I call it the gift of knowing. I don't necessarily call it the gift of prophecy, because I think prophecy, I'm not sure. I think prophecy is also kind of like the gift of knowing. And yet I'm not completely sure what all the gift of prophecy entails. I'm just saying that I believe that I've always had this gift of knowing. And I also have this really weird gift, which I talked about. I think I called it my weirdness, my personal weirdness. And I have this thing that, and I've had it for many, many, many years, and I've talked about it before, where electrical things kind of go, they kind of go misfired, I guess is the word. Things happen, and I've talked about that, like where the lightning hit the transformer behind our house prior to or after all these things were going on, electrical, everything I would touch, like the dishwasher, the washer dryer, the stove, everything, I would have to call maintenance people to come fix. And then all of a sudden the lightning hit the transformer behind the house, blew out the lights, the electricity. And then after that, it was good to go for quite some time. And yet I've had it. And it's not necessarily just electrical, but it's kind of like very odd things happen. Like I talked about, in another video, this is about 12 years ago, when I took sick suddenly, and a couple days before that, I saw what was like a possum at the top of our house steps, not here, at a different house, at the top of the steps, about 3 steps down, and it stared me down. I mean, it was at night, and I was on the bottom of the steps, and I heard something, and I looked around, and there was this possum-like creature, and it just stood there staring at me, glaring at me. And then finally I clapped my hands and it ran, and we called in exterminators and everyone. They couldn't find it. They couldn't find anything. And so I've had a lot of it. It's more, even though I call it the electrical thing, it goes beyond just electric. It goes into kind of other things. Like one time we had 3 birds. We had a 3-level house, and we had 3 big birds that flew into the house, and 1 flew on each level. We could not get those birds out for 3 days. Now, based upon what my grandma used to tell me, if a bird flies in the house, there's a message. And these were big birds. So I said, boy, am I going to have a big message. And I have to tell you, within a very, very, very short amount of time, just a couple days or so, I got a very, very big message. And so, it's like, I believe in that, but it can be good things too. The electrical thing, I believe, can be good things, but it's sort of like my personal GPS or my personal warning system. Like, remember the robot in Lost in Space? Warning, warning, warning. Well, my electrical thing kind of makes me highly alert. So it may sound crazy to you. It may sound strange. You may think I've totally gone off the deep end and, just completely gone off the deep end. But I can tell you, my husband, who really didn't believe in any of that when we first got married 30 years ago, he really was like, oh, okay, I agree with you, kind of with a wink, And I can tell you, he absolutely is 100%. When I get the electrical thing or even the knowing, he completely listens, There was another thing just, recently I had told him about, and, just it's something that I told him about, and it was very specific, and it happened. And so he knows that, I have this gift. So where did that gift come from? The gift of knowing. Now, the gift of knowing, I don't know why I have that. The gift of knowing, I love that gift. The electrical thing, I believe it is a gift, and yet I kind of, when all, things happen, like one night, somebody had called, and that particular person had kind of a negative energy, a lot of negative energy going on at that time. My computer in my sunroom completely froze, completely locked up during that conversation time, and we had to call in a computer repairman who couldn't figure it out, and he was a very good computer repairman. They had to take it off to fix it, and they finally got it fixed. Okay, and it cost me almost $300 to get it fixed. And so what I'm saying is that electrical thing, it feels like I pick up electrical energy, and that's why I'm very guarded, and I only want to keep myself around the positive energy if at all possible, and pray that that negative energy bounces off of me. And so, yeah, but I think that there are all kinds of spiritual gifts, all kinds, just because I have the gift of what I call the gift of knowing, and the electrical thing, as I call it, which is really, probably need to come up with a better name for it. But it just kind of is what I call it so far. And of course, I have other gifts. We have talents, and our talents are gifts, but they're a little bit different than that. There's, I think, spiritual gifts, and then I think there are talent gifts. And I have, like I'm an artist, and that's more of a talent gift. I think that that's a talent gift versus a spiritual gift. Although some people, it could be a spiritual gift. And if you look at some of my paintings, they're very kind of, you can feel my essence come through those paintings. So in a sense, I guess that could be a spiritual gift too. But mainly I'm talking about those very unique, specific kinds of gifts. Like I said, with the gift of knowing, or the gift of, there's just so many different kinds of gifts. And I think a lot of them are just go a lifetime never being tapped into. Some of them are circumstances and environments and situations will bring them out. Other situations, we will just be attracted to a certain type of thing, and that becomes our spiritual gift. So I love the idea of spiritual gifts. I feel that they're a blessing, and whether it's my gift of knowing or my GPS system, my warning, but also remember that warning, the electrical thing can be a good thing too. It could be a warning, not a warning, but letting me know that I need to prepare for something really good ahead, because I've had situations where something really, really great was about to happen, and had I not prepared for it, I would have bypassed that opportunity altogether. And that was more the gift of knowing that came through those situations. And I talked about that, like where in the video called How I Met My Husband, how that whole morning I knew that I felt this presence of this man around me. That was what the gift of knowing is like for me. The electrical thing is where things are just not working right. They're just one right after the other. Like I had a webcam call from somebody, and it came through and it showed up on my phone. But that person only has a flip phone. It's an older person, and they only have a flip phone. They don't have the ability to do that particular kind of webcam that it came through, and they didn't have that kind of account. So, and it still says on my phone that came through from them. And so it's just, that type of thing when I call it the electrical thing. And I believe that that's sort of like my GPS, or my kind of alert system. Maybe that's a better name for it, alert system. So anyhow, I think we all have spiritual gifts, and we all have talent gifts. Like I said, I believe that those two are different. I believe one has more spiritual essence to it, and kind of supernatural essence to it, and the other one is more, it could have supernatural essence to it, but it's more of a talent gift, if that makes sense. Anyhow, I thought I would just come on here and talk a little bit about that. Okay, from my house to yours, may God bless you. I hope you like, share, subscribe, and I hope to talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.